Great, thank you.
All right. And I will post up, I guess, let me figure out this out after we're done. I'll find, I think we can send out the link or the actual audio file. All right, so there's a couple of things here. There's a few ways you can and parse through it, but let's say I know my property and I just want to do something quick and easy, like I want to run a demo and just go from there. So let's say I'm going to put in an address up here, up in the search bar, and by default it'll come up. It'll come up with the address. Try and parse through what you're trying to say. So in this case, it knows I want that address. All right, good. Dropping me in the right place. Let's do something here. So let's say it shows me, and I want to add a site name. Let's use the building name. So put in this building. Does it have a name? But let's say we'll just call it building name just as a sample here. And also too, there's a couple of things here. So let's say if it dropped it off, it dropped you in a site that was, it uses the geocoder, and sometimes it typically does it based on where the address is on the street. For a lot of what we do, there's generally a little bit of setback. So let's say, this is the actual building, but the address is here. So let's say I'm going to move this point here. Is it going to change that much? Generally speaking, no. But, you try and want to be as accurate as possible when you can. Let's go on the next step. So beyond this, we've got our point in the right place. Let's add some rings, and we'll pull a demo from that. So by default, it'll typically come up with, these are radius rings. So by default, it can do 1, 3, 5. You could have it do 1, 2, 3, or something else depending on what is most pertinent in the area you're searching. It also do drive times, which are really useful. And the nice thing about a drive time is in an area. Let me zoom out a little bit here. It's like if we go out and you hit 3 miles here is about here, and suddenly you hit a mountain. And so suddenly that trade area is less valid. So sometimes, like with the drive time, it'll actually say, okay, this property is 2 blocks off of the highway. So you'll have these actually extended trade areas that kind of show where people can actually come from. But to keep things easy, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to use some radius rings. We're going to hit apply. Oh, actually, let me. Let's go back to that. So we've got our radius rings, and let me change our map so we can see a little better. So again, going out 1, 3, 5, and sort of rough overview of the area. If we click back on our site, if we click on reports, there's a number of reports just baked in that are ready to rock and easy and ready to go. By default, there's a few that are just sort of basic ones. Executive summary is just basically some population information, some income information, some race and ethnicity, some educational information, and some things based on that. Additional with sort of like market profile, similar thing, also has some retail spending data. Those are two I would sort of start with and then branch out from there. And there are also maybe some where it depends on what sort of client or usage you're working with. Depending on, say, the tenant type, it'll show different spending categories. Or for more like an office client, they'll have like a business summary and a business locator, so it'll show what sort of competition among different professional groups are there. But let's just run this report, and it's going to process for a sec, and then let's open our report. So it'll come up with some basic details about the property based on our trade area that we pulled, and have the building name. I'll show you in a sec where we plug in the logo, so it'll populate our reports, and we've got our nice little report ready to go. Additionally, too, so there's also some other fun things here that you're going to need on regular occasion. Things like the traffic code map. It'll also do a quick site map on an image. So if you just wanted to again just show where the property is in reference against a aerial, these are kind of quick and easy. And again, all this can be customized, which maybe we'll talk about in a couple minutes. So I'll let that process in the background. Turn that off. Okay, couple other things I'll show you. And actually, yeah, let me show you how you make sure your reports are customized so that they have the logos. So if you actually click, let's go back, on the little cog tool up here for settings, if you go down to go down to Reports, and click on Logo. By default, it'll probably have the Esri logo here. We certainly want the Transwestern logo. So assuming you both probably have that downloaded from TransSource, upload that in. Probably just the JPEG or the PNG will work, and should save and close and scale it to be as large as it can within the field.
Can you show me again where you click to go to the settings? Because I missed that.
Oh, no worries. Up here, up in the upper right corner, there's this little tool that looks like a cog. That's the settings tool. And this will also, look, all the settings for how you have it set up for the map document itself is going to be up in this area. So if I click on the Reports tab over here, go to Logo, and then I can hit Add Logo and upload in whatever custom logo. And this for a report also could be the client's logo or whatever is useful for the project. A couple other things here to actually while we're in settings. So all this, the great thing about this is, and also part of it is that could drive somebody to rip their hair out too, but is that everything in this is very customizable. So depending on how you want it to be, you can change around the colors. So like in mine, typical, and based on kind of the Transwestern color palette, I'm using sort of that orange color, the lighter green, the darker blue, and change that as you go. But yeah, depending on what you're pulling, you can do all that fun, exciting stuff. And excuse me. So let me save and close there. And let's actually talk through the report section a little bit. So bear with me, any questions so far? Okay, so let's kind of walk through it again. There's a few other things we can do while we're in this map window. Let's actually create some actual maps here. So let's say we wanted to, there's a few different tools, but right now I'm going to focus on just the basic, which is color-coded maps here for if we just wanted to do some basic, pull some, basic demographic map. So I'm going to click on that. And we can specify, let's say, I'll pick on income. We'll do median household income. And it'll render. So here too, it'll do it based on whatever sort of your map extent is. We could change around some of the color ranges here. We could also, use custom colors if we wanted to. And we can do some things there. Again, all this, again, we can also add in, let me add a variable here. So let's say if we wanted to show, so we've got median household income. Let's add in total population. So we could also kind of render, where there's areas of, so it can kind of render it by two different variables at the same time. So
on the household income, if you know that the majority of the houses are income is over a certain amount, can you change the base of that to not start at 0?
So let's say it starts at 0. Let's see if we can data 0 style. Legend. Let's see. Let me figure out how we filter that. Oh, here we go. So let's say if we wanted to start at, let's hit save, and that'll exclude it, and that'll, oh, wait a minute. Let's have it filter that. So yeah, you can kind of drag and drop or adjust the range here, and it'll exclude those sort of values. Or if we just wanted to pull, show, let's say at a retail client where they needed to be in a location that was above a certain income, so just show where those areas are. Beyond that, let's see, also with maps. So, and when you're actually done with the map, and let's say you've changed the colors around, and you actually want to save it and put something out, we can do it a couple ways. From here, we can have it create a basic map here, or export it as an image. And also, the fun part is, we can share this out to the ArcGIS organization. So this is where it comes in useful in that they have the plugin for ArcGIS for Creative Cloud. So there's an actual plugin for Photoshop and for Illustrator, so we can actually import in maps into sort of that Creative Cloud ecosystem. So if you wanted to import, work with a map in Illustrator and then push it over into InDesign, we could do something like that. So, and that's something we're doing a training on that. Let me just look at my calendar. think, let me double check that you're both invited to, that I think you got both on the invite. It's on the 15th. Okay, Heather, I see you're there. Yeah, okay. So that one's a really cool tool. It's still a little bit newer, and we're kind of working through it, but I think it's getting better, and I definitely think it helps extend the power of the mapping, our mapping capabilities to our marketing team. So let's cancel out of that. And again, too, I know there's a lot that happens with this program too. So there's trying to just give you a very quick crash course in it. And as you have questions along the way, please as you're using it, let me know, and we can walk through it more. Let's go over from maps. Oh, also a couple things we can do here too. So within the geographies, we did find location, which was basically, we knew our address, we knew where we wanted to be. So let's say, but we also, let's clear this off. And let's start from a fresh map. So let's say I knew you're working with somebody and they want to pull a demo for a very specific area. So let's say they know they want it to be, roughly over here to the west. Use the highway as a barrier to the west. Go over here, drag it over here, and then there's sort of a ridge line here, and we'll use that as our barrier here and over here. So we can call this, call it the downtown, hit apply, and again, use our report based on the actual customized demo area we set up. And additionally, on also too, we can set up, again, basing it on a radius or a drive time, or pulling a custom area. We can also search or select for a custom area. So let's say I want to do it for a particular city. I'm going to pull that, get out of the way. Click next, and again, this will be the report based on the actual city boundaries themselves. What else can I show you here? So let's go over to the reporting section, because there's a lot more we can do here. And again, we're gonna go through this kind of quick, give you a little taste of it, and then as you dig into it and have questions along the way, we'll kind of go into more dig into more detail. So the run report section here, excuse me. This will have all the reports, standard reports available. There are also some custom reports that you can generate as well. But the great thing is that if you wanted to do multiple reports, and you can select, the number of sites you want to do it. So let's say I want to pull, I want to do that building name. I want to do don't want to do downtown, but I want to do the city. And I can tell it, which ones I want to report at once. Or the nice thing is, I can hit run all. It'll sit and process for a couple of minutes, and it will actually open them all in one PDF. So, additionally, there's also the function if we really were specific, and let's say, we knew we wanted to compare a couple of sites or one site, and we just wanted to know these two things. So let me pull. So let's say we've got our two sites, and I just want to know. Here we go. Let's add some variables. So let's say I just want to know what the total population is. And the nice thing is also too, we can search up here for what we're looking for. I want to know the daytime population, and I want to know and let's say how many people, let's say, drove to work. I'll hit apply. And we've just got those basic numbers. So sometimes if you're looking for something very specific, it's relatively quick and easy to just find those variables and pull that out. This can be saved, and this will export it out into a table that you can open in Excel. So this is useful too if we're, comparing, let's say, our, particular property we're working on, and maybe benchmarking it to the metro area or to the state or something else in comparison. So, and additionally, and then we'll go through one more thing. Oh, you know what? Let me go back to reports. Within reports too, there's the basic reports, which look like, stats on a page and are useful and informative, but aren't necessarily as exciting. There's also the infographic tool. So there's a few that are sort of standard here that are baked in. We can also, create ones on the fly. But let's say if I click on key facts, let me run that for our building. So this has the ability to create some more kind of interesting and more visual demographic reports and infographics. Here we go. Come on. So again, yeah, something like this where it's a little more visual and has some, again, still showing our imagery, but is a little more graphic. This is going to be saved out as a PDF or printed or saved as an image, and can scale to different size pages too. So within that, let's do a quick one on building reporting. The other nice thing is too, like with the reporting section, you can pull it from different fields, or if you knew you worked with couple of reports and you wanted to kind of consolidate them into one. So let's say I want to do demographics. I'm going to pull from the housing profile. I want to pull that piece from here, and that piece from there. And I can save this out. And so this is what it would look like. I can also save this report and customize it along the way, and even take out different fields as we go. So that's a little bit about Business Analyst. I know we went through a lot here, so I was going to see any questions on anything so far. Okay, great. So this again, not throwing a lot of information. I urge you both to go in, dig into the program a little bit. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do. So, and again, questions along the way, email me, call me, let me know, and we can walk through it. Additionally, with all this, if you go. So I know we're all flush with free time in this industry. Just kidding, of course. If you go to esri.com/training, we have through our subscription there's a lot of stuff baked on their website that sometimes is sometimes it's like a 2-minute intro demo on something like that, and sometimes a little longer. But all this stuff, there are multiple little things that kind of walk you through setting up a project. So if you have any questions, let me know, or sometimes these things can be helpful too. So with that, I'm going to segue off at Business Analyst and just onto basic ArcGIS and give everybody a little test drive there. And I think we should be done in a couple of minutes. So again, with ArcGIS, same thing, we'll go to arcgis.com. Sign in, and this again, same login that you use for Business Analyst and for the whole ecosystem. We'll sign in, and so I have a defaulting to come up to the content view that I've created. You can change it to be to come up to your organization, to your home, or come up to a map screen in general. We'll walk through. Let's just walk through actually adding some data into a map and pull that there. So by default, it'll come up with a nice looking view of the entire US, but let's actually add in some data. So I'm going to go click add layer from file, and from here I can upload what is typically most useful. I can upload CSV sheet that has a list of properties. Let's do. So like, let's say this is, I believe, a sheet of properties that I pulled from CoStar, but it could be from, supplied from the broker or whoever else. You can upload it a couple ways. One, typically, it's going to do what's called geocoding, which is, it's looking for the address, city, state. If you're doing properties, you need these three pieces. Address also could be cross streets or something like that. Additionally, which can be really useful if you're pulling it out of CoStar or a lot of other databases or the XRM that have a latitude and a longitude, if it has that, even better. So if it has those fields available, pull them with the sheet, and we can use those as an upload. Typically, they're a little more accurate. But in this case, we've got our address, our lat long. We'll go through, look to make sure that, we want addresses going to the right place. Good, everything's porting over correctly. Great, let's add it in. All right, so it added in a few things. This is using a subject current location and say potential other locations. By default, it actually came in and spliced it, figured out that I had, on that Excel sheet, had it separated by type. Say one was existing, one was, and the other 20 odd ones were potential. I could also have it show, every location as the same, or we can do some fun stuff here. We've got the rental rates baked in, so we could show them, as different size rents or different colors based on the rental range. Let's right now, I'll just leave it as types based on that, and we'll click done for a sec and go back in. So by default, it dropped in the existing one as that little blue one. Everything else is in red. Let's say I want to change that. I'm going to go back in. Sorry. This icon here with the different shapes, that's for changing the style. We'll click on that, and then we'll go to types and options and slice through it. So let's say I want to move that around. I want the existing to be on top. I'm going to, and let's make that shape. It's default by 8, it's a little small. Let's make it bigger. And I want it to actually be transwestern blue. Let's make this one. Let's make that one a square. We'll fill it, and we'll make that orange. And again, let's make it a little bigger. We'll hit OK, and yeah, we'll leave it as non-transparent. Let's hit OK. Okay, and again, there's a bunch of other variables that go in here too. Maybe we can do another class on this and go through the more advanced stuff. But just want to give you both enough to get in there and get your feet wet. Let's add in a couple things. I can add in some labels. This will just label it. Typically, it'll label it based on address. The labeling tool in here, I'd like it to be better. I'm sorry. So that one's a work in progress. We'll hit OK. Additionally, if you're doing this as a web-based map, you can change around the pop-up so it'll show differently when people click on it. So sometimes it's just a little cleaned up a little more. With all this stuff, you can, and with anything, save early, save often. And forgive me, I can't spell. I'm a terrible speller, but we'll leave that as. All right. So there's a few things we can do here. So let's say we've got our map created. We want to share it out. So we can do a couple things. One, the map tool here is not great. There's you can print the map, but it's not real pretty. We can share it out. So let's say if I click share, I can do a few things here. One, this map is available to everybody. Sometimes you're going to want to do that, sometimes not. Two, if you're sharing it, working on the project with somebody else within the company, you can share it with somebody else that has the account. Or three, I just want to share it with certain people that are working on certain projects. So let's say I want to share it with, where's one? Let's say, or actually, let's say this one. This is ArcGIS for Creative Cloud. So I'm sharing it with that group such that it will populate in the Creative Cloud app. So from there, on the Adobe side, and actually let me port that up. All right, so let's open Illustrator and actually walk you through this. And then I think we're hitting 8:30, and we'll take a pause for a second, see for questions. While this opening, again, does anybody have questions? Okay. Okay, so let's say I'm going to create a new document. Doesn't matter which side, or well, it doesn't matter for this process. Okay, we've got a map open. Great. So I'm going to wait for this. Again, there's a lot of probably too much fun too much waiting and load for things to load, but that's the nature of the beast. All right, so let's. I'm going to zoom into roughly the area that we pulled. I'm going to specify that I want it to pull. I'm going to open up. It'll ask me where I want to pull information from. I can pull from kind of the stock Esri stuff, but I want to actually pull in my own info here. So let's say I want to pull. Where was it? Here we go. Let's click close. And I can adjust the window extent here. And over here, where we've got our map board, so it's got our info. Let's say I want to change the base map to that. That one. Let's change it to a slightly different one. Let's say the darker canvas. And it's done, and let's say I want to input it into Illustrator. It's gonna think about it for a minute and eventually process it out, but we'll have an Illustrator document. And then here we have our Illustrator document, we've got our layers, and we can show what we do and don't want to show. So that has been a very, forgive me, very, very quick tour of some basic ArcGIS and some business analyst. Any questions? It's about 8:30, so I want to kind of wrap it up here, but or I guess 10:30. Any other additional questions?
No, thank you, Brian. Can you just send the link for the video then?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I will send out the link with this recording. Additionally, with a couple of links of where to log in, and also if you're interested, where to find the download for Adobe for ArcGIS for Creative Cloud, and we'll go from there. And again, any questions along the way, just feel free anytime. Email me, give me a call, send me a message through Skype. I'm happy to walk you through anything.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you both. Have a great day.